So Josh, one of the great privileges we get at North Group is our clients very often invite us inside their firm to influence the development of their leaders, influence the development of their team. And of course the purpose overall, nobody ever says it exactly this way, but the purpose overall is we're being called into the organization to help the leaders, the executive team, leadership team, whatever they call it, to serve the mission of their organization well. And when we do that, we often use a 3C progression. You're familiar with it, of course. Build cohesion, build clarity, build communication in the organization, but we always start with cohesion. From your point of view, your experience, why is the building of cohesion among a team so important?
Yeah, I think it's important for a few reasons, but maybe most foundational in that whole process is the idea of trust.
Yeah.
To build a cohesive team, you really need that element of trust. Everybody knows that they have one another's back in that whole process, and that when they walk into meetings, they know this is a safe place. It's a trusting environment. And sometimes one of the quickest ways, I think, to help build that trust is actually through storytelling.
Cool. Yep.
Might sound
like
a little bit interesting and sometimes maybe a bit touchy-feely, but that's not the purpose whatsoever. Instead, it's really that idea of being invited into somebody else's life. And when that happens, there's a level of both vulnerability that's demonstrated to really build a connection as a team. But secondly, it also begins to allow one another to learn from each other's experiences.
Because we haven't all had the same ones. We don't always come to a place of trust in the same order or at the same pace.
That's exactly right. And that's both inside the business and outside the business. The idea of the amount of experience and the diversity of the experience that we bring to the table is from general life experience sometimes, as well as where are we at in our career. If somebody's 60 years old sitting around the table and somebody's 25 years old sitting around the table, the reality is we both have something to learn from each other.
So how would we then take something which some people may look at as just like an exercise, storytelling, icebreaker, let's check it off. Why is that substantial in terms of serving the mission well, in terms of organizational performance? How does that accelerate it?
Yeah, well, I think it accelerates it because it sets an environment that's different. For instance, if it's just a box to check, I think frequently we can think of it in terms of, hey, I need to remember that guy's name across the table, which is not the purpose whatsoever. The purpose is really to create an environment where we understand sometimes where we're coming from with various perspectives and or sometimes even behavior. We can work alongside of somebody for years and be even offended sometimes as to how they approach
plain
things.
Annoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. But when we have an opportunity to learn from one another's life experiences, not just work experiences, sometimes it causes us to sit back in our chair and think, oh wow, I had no idea. But there's a strength to that person bringing that perspective and even the way in which they engage the team to the table there, because it's back to that idea of diversity is a strength. It's not
I'm sorry, I hear you saying that that's one example of how we would go about building cohesion, but this idea of building cohesion is it plays the purpose of accelerating organizational performance down the line, because as we build trust, we build vulnerability, we ask for help easier, we challenge easier, we engage in constructive conflict easier, we get to performance easier.
That's exactly right.
So it's real-time team development, cohesion gives way to clarity, gives way to communication.
Absolutely.
And that's why we start with the cohesion piece.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.